Like, what percentage of, like, you put blue hair on, right? What percentage of that was like, I'm being perceived and I'm going to do this thing because I'm being perceived, and how much of it is like, I genuinely want blue hair?
For blue hair, it was part of it was a donation drive. I think if they raised enough money for something, so that was one thing. And then the second thing is, I actually really like. I think it's enriching to the human experience for people to have a large array of characteristics. I think it's very sad when somebody fully fits into an archetype. So I like having blue hair and being pro guns and being a computer nerd and being, doing a lot of different shit. I think it's nice. So I think the blue hair is nice because I worked aesthetically. I got a lot of DMs. I saw a lot of public comments for it. To show up on a podcast with blue hair, but then to be like, oh shit, this guy's like debating the out of these red pillars or whatever. Yeah,
my rival, they're non-binary. They wear a dress, but then but because they signal so much left, they really get off on like doing right stuff as well. And then their advice to one of the girls at the studio who is like a narco-capitalist is like signal left, like as much as possible because you are so right-wing coded. So I mean, I get it.
I do think something that I try to be very careful about, I think there's a huge difference here, is if regardless of what I'm signaling, I try to encompass a wide array of everything, not like contradictory, like things that might be seemingly contradictory. Like there's nothing really contradictory about having blue hair, believing in trans rights, and also liking to shoot guns.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
These are characteristics that typically belong to different groups. There's not inherent contradiction there,
That's
right?
true.
So, but there are some people that I don't want to just signal, but also be like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Something that when I was 15, 16, I started to become an atheist. I was very Catholic, and then I became an atheist. And then in that journey, as a 15, 16-year-old male, obviously I did what every 15, 16-year-old male does, and I start reading Ayn Rand, because I have a friend who suggests, oh my God, you should read, first it was the short story Anthem, and then it was Atlas Shrugged, right? It's like, and after I read these, I was like, this is it. This is the peak, the pinnacle of human philosophy is Ayn Rand, objectivism. This is it. I understand everything. Like, oh, you're asking me why are people sad? Clearly, it's because government intervention and a lack of freedom. If they would just be allowed to, this type of thing, right? And I don't know why, thank God, but for some reason, after 6 months, I realized, I was like, okay, I read, literally the first thing that I read was the most convincing thing to me in the world, and I fully believed every single part of it. I read afterwards, it was The Stranger by Albert Camus, and I was like, oh my God, absurdism? Yeah, true. Life is just like a meaningless struggle that we have to infuse our own beliefs into. And then some Kurt Vonnegut. We had really good stuff that we had to read in English. Cat's Cradle and Slaughterhouse-Five, right? Yeah, but I realized after a few authors, I was like, I literally am just fully agreeing with the last thing that I read. Holy shit. And I came to two really important realizations when I was really young, and I've never changed my mind on these. The first is that I have to be very careful who I listen to because I'm very impressionable, especially as a young person. So I'm likely to believe anything. But the second thing that was really, really, really important to me, and I noticed this in my peers, especially as a teenager, is the one thing I never want to be is controlled by somebody else. But that control can come in the form of them dictating who you are, but also by dictating who you are, dictating who you can't be. So people that will fully take after their parents, in my view, are just as in controlled or being just as controlled by their parents as the people who want to be the exact opposite of them, right? Some people, rather than venturing out of the world and creating their own person, instead seek to create the opposite of what their parents or society wanted them to be. And it's like have you ever seen a vehicle where you, like if you control it, you turn right and it goes right, but there are the steering wheels where like when you push right, it goes like left or whatever, like because of the way the gear is connected, right? I feel like it's the same thing. Somebody's still like controlling you. So those are two things I try to keep in mind.
Yeah. If you're like there's the people who are like, I believe the opposite of the current thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But you're just as much being controlled by them. Don't you see that? Yeah, that always bothered the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I relate to that. I'm credulous. That's the word I was using, credulous.
What a great word.
It's a great word.
Very real, very great word.
JJ uses that word to describe young kids. And the young kids go through that journey that you're describing like 100-fold when they're like 12. Because all the information is just out there on the internet and they're trying to find their identity group. But I guess I'm in a disadvantage here because I immediately put a lot of weight on what older people tell me because I'm like mentor pilled.
Wait, real quick, how old are you again?
I'm 27.
Okay.
But I started doing mentorship when I was 22.
Okay.
So I don't know, and I just like I think there's a lot of wisdom there. But then at the same time, I think if everyone's like going through all these ideologies, not really like embodying any of them and like picking them, then like I just wish everyone just picked one and then we all fought. That's more fun. You know, you read the Ayn Rand, and then I'm talking to you as an anarcho-capitalist. Fuck yeah, that's more exciting. And then I can be a communist, and we can kill each other. Or we can make our own network states. We can make little network states. You can have a net communist.
I mean, you can do that now.
Yeah,
right?
well,
there are places you can go
there.
in the world where people are fighting and killing each other right now if you really wanted to. Go to Yemen, go to Russia, go to Lebanon, go to
It's not fun.
Ukraine. No? Oh, so it's fun to talk about it.
It's not fun.
It's fun to have the aesthetic of civil war, but the actual civil war is...
Actual civil war, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
This was so much more fun when we were talking about it.
I'm not getting paid out from my AdSense anymore because
Yeah.
like the
You're
U.S.
sad because
government's
your like
gone
friends
under.
are dying.
That's
You're
the
like,
whole,
oh, I
like,
like
friends
those
die.
guys.
Yeah. Me reaping and then like me sowing.
Me sewing, yeah. I'm not thinking about the me sewing part of this whole equation. Yeah.